Hi, I'm Chelsea from Chelsi Stratton Designs, and today I'm here in my mom's quilt studio to share a brand new Laguna Sunrise quilt with you, Lazy Daisy. And I really love this quilt. It's flowers. You know how much I love flowers. So we are just going to talk all things Lazy Daisy today so you can get a closer look at it. So let's get started. Okay, so I am so excited that I have this quilt back for my quilter. Marion did the quilting on this, and what I love so much about it is I love these flower blocks, but the crosshatch gave it almost a really cool vintagey type look, and I thought it just really suited this pattern. But I think these blocks look like they might be a little bit difficult to put together, but they're not. That's something I really love about this quilt is it goes together really simple. It is a Fat 8th friendly quilt with some obvious yardages. You'll obviously see that half the stems I used the pinwheel in the green, and then half the stems with the leaves I used with the green stripe. I just wanted kind of a continuation of the greens, so you will need yardages for those portions of the flower blocks. But what's really great is you're able to use all of the different color combos from the Laguna Sunrise collection. And that's something I try to do when designing quilts is I want to show obviously different color combinations, but when you make a quilt, you want to be able to use every fabric in the collection. So this was a great way to use that, as well as the low volumes in the quilt. You'll notice on this blue, this teal flower, I was able to use the low volumes, but some of the flower blocks for the petals actually have low volumes. So that made this one really fun to put together. So like I said, not difficult. I would say confident beginner. There's not any crazy piecing techniques. Nothing is appliqué. Everything is all traditionally pieced. And I think it went together really well. And one thing I want to note, I'm going to show you guys really quick, but normally I don't do a print border. I usually only do the one border with the tone on tone print, and that tone on tone is actually what I used from the collection for the background. If you're looking for a solid background that matches what we used, that is going to be the Bella 200. But this quilt, when I was designing it, really needed this orange border to brighten it up. And I like that it's just the two-tone orange print, so it's not too busy and doesn't take away from the flowers, but I actually think a floral border would look really good with this since it is a flower quilt. And so I added this border, and actually something I thought about afterwards, it's a fairly big quilt, but you could make this outer border larger if you wanted, because the blocks are a bigger size. It doesn't take away anything. I think it would only add to make that border a lot larger than I have it in the pattern. The quilt is actually 77 inches by 77 inches, so I really do think actually adding a larger border would have complemented this quilt a little bit better too. So if you wanted to, you could add that and make it larger that way if you were thinking of that. I'm going to show you the backing very quickly. We have a really great range of low volume prints in this collection. This, I call it like the tri-floral because there's 3 flowers kind of clustered together with these little plus signs. One of my favorites. And of course, since it's flower blocks, I had to choose a flower backing. This is actually a question we've had before. I have talked about using florals for traditional. You can use whatever backing you want, but I feel like when I make a floral quilt, I've got to add a floral backing on the back. So This is, I want to show you this yellow flower right here because this quilt actually isn't bound yet. My mom is binding it for me right after I film this video. This is the print that I'm using for the binding. I think the orange and this citrine go together really, really well. Not that it goes with everything, it just really brightens it. And so I wanted to drag attention to the edge of the quilt, and this was the perfect one. So this print is actually going to be the binding for this quilt top. And I think that's it with this one. I love the quilting on it. I did do sashing on this. The reason for that was I already have two flowers touching each other when you put the block together, and I didn't want it to be too much of a cluster. So I added sashing to give it a little bit of space, and I didn't use a low volume print. I used the tone on tone because I actually didn't want it to look busy. I wanted it to have the focus on these flowers. So that's the reason I did that on this quilt. And it's just a lot of fun to make. I love flower quilts, so I hope that you enjoy making this one. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video where we talked more about my newest quilt pattern with Laguna Sunrise, Lazy Daisy. And if you are looking for the pattern for that, you can find that linked in the description of this video as well. If you liked this video, hit the like button, and if you're not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe or share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for stopping by.